Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Gary Garth. Gary is the founder and CEO of Great Dane Ventures, Elevate.io, and the Accelerator platform. He's been featured in Inc., Forbes, Success, and many other publications. He's been a serial entrepreneur for over 20 years, started and successfully exited 6 companies, including large outbound sales call centers, radio ad networks, and an award-winning 8-figure digital marketing agency. Gary, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Gary is also the best-selling author of the book you see behind him if you're watching the video, the $0 to $100 million sales blueprint. Let's go back in time just a little bit. How did you get started?
Get started as an entrepreneur or started on the book?
Started as an entrepreneur. Let's do that first.
Oh,
that came first.
God. That certainly did come. I was 19 years old living in Denmark, and I had this idea of selling DVD players and DVD machines when that just got released, and was importing them from Denmark to from US to Denmark, because there was a time difference about 6 to 9 months before they were published. So I figured that was a good idea, and was kind of lucky, and that blew up, and I opened a couple of stores and sold that business. So 19 years old, and I was thrown into the entrepreneur. A lot of ups and downs ever since then, but it was a good learning experience.
For sure. And obviously you've had quite a lot of success since then, and a lot of those stories are in the book. What inspired you to write the book?
Yes, there are a lot of stories in the book. I was motivated because after selling my last business, I was talking with my coach and trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. Then I said, "What the heck is next?" And she was like, "What really drives you? What makes you feel happy?" And I was just resonating on a lot of the feedback from people I've been training, companies I've been helping, and the compliments of saying like, "Hey, that really helped a lot. Could you put that on paper? Could you share that?" and so forth. Just fueled me with motivation to try to, accumulate all those learnings. Also the learnings from all the great people I've been working with over the years, and put it into one book that encompasses everything. Because I think as an entrepreneur, there's a ton of great books out there you can read. I'm an avid reader myself, but they're very subject matter specific. So I felt there was a need for a book. If you're starting a business, if you just launched it, and you need to have the steps for that, the journey over the first couple of years in sales and revenue generation, then I believe I put everything in that book. Yes, so that was.
You certainly did. When I read it, I thought, this is not just a book. This could easily be a couple $1,000 course. It could be a high 5-figure, 6-figure mastermind program. There's a whole lot more. It's just the start of the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Now, the book 0 to 100 million obviously is a big range.
Yes.
So that could be intimidating for someone who's on the lower end of the side, thinking, well, I don't know if this is for me. I'm not trying to go to 100 million. I'm trying to face my first million or my first 10 million. Yes. Talk a little bit about, because you talk in the book about how you started and how you went from 0 to first sale to first exit. Talk a little bit about the journey and how there's different processes depending on where you are as an entrepreneur in your journey.
Amen. And I tell everybody, you can get the book and just flip to a chapter that aligns with the current journey you're on. But the first phase, the solopreneur phase, the startup phase, the bootstrap phase, that's typically the tough one, right? It's common knowledge that 97% of businesses cease to exist within those first early years, right? So in that phase, it's all about you in the trenches, doing everything, and it's particularly important to get sales up and running. And if you have the sales DNA in you, if you don't, make sure that you partner up with somebody that can get that going, have sales and marketing alignment. And then the next phase is basically start building out a team, right? And I put a lot of emphasis on that in my books, as for how to hire your first VP, how to build your first sales team, how to have a sales onboarding plan, all the mission critical things that a lot of people forget to do, because it's difference of me selling, or you're hiring one rep to do it, or you're having a team of 20. And then that next phase is where I call it, that's where you almost need like the VP of sales with spreadsheets. It's all about metrics, numbers, data, and it's really it's all about processes, automation, and creating systems, basically. So it's almost like a three-phase journey, I would say, from the 0 to 1 million, from 1 million to 10, and then from 10 to 100, so to speak.
What are some of the biggest pitfalls that people run into during those three phases that obviously the processes you laid out so well in your book can help them avoid?
Yes, great question. Well, in the first phase, it's pretty straightforward. It's just getting some freaking clients, right? That's number one objective. The second phase is then the knowledge transfer. How do you document everything? How do you make sure that your reps adapt those good behaviors? How do you create a playbook to make sure that every follow it? And the reps, the mistakes is typically also that you hire one rep that's successful because a certain set of activities or skill sets, but can't necessarily be replicated that easy. So it's important to build out a sales playbook with all the best practices. Then at the next stage is basically inefficiencies. I would say when you start to scale, you become not greedy, but you're looking to build the team, and all of a sudden your closing rate starts to decline. Overall efficiencies drop. You spend more money on acquiring a customer than previously. So the key is to sustain efficiency while obtaining the results as you grow. That's very difficult, and many companies are expecting it to some extent. They're okay that there's a diminishing returns after a period of time. So it's about finding that sweet spot and that the growth rate that can become sustainable and satisfactory, so to speak.
I think the most, and you can confirm if your experience backs this up, I think the most common issue that you get in the beginning of let's say the 0 to 1 million, the whole, I'm the only one who can do it, or I do it better than everybody else. How do when you talk about building a sales playbook, when you talk about building a process for someone else to duplicate, number one, how do you get that knowledge out of your head? And two, how do you get the founder over that belief that no one else is going to do it as good as me? And if I let it go and I delegate it, we're going to get less results.
Yes, I think, and I fall victim to that all the time. I recently started another company, and I've just found myself doing the same patterns, so it's common. Everybody who's fall victim to that, it's normal, but it's important to change that perception of it. What had worked very well for me lately is just thinking about, like, okay, shooting like a little Vimeo video while I'm doing some activity, right? And then having somebody else try to document that in writing as well, and then putting into like a wiki or knowledge library so other people can access it. And what I found is that very often other people are better than doing it than myself. So it's just about having faith, trust in your team, and enabling them for success. Not always, and also giving them some flexibility to do things their own way. Just tell them that here's the desired outcome. Now you go and figure it out. If they can't figure it out, that's when it's good to support. But master that balance of giving, of not micromanaging, but also giving them the autonomy to execute on your playbook, so to speak.
You've successfully exited over 6 companies, at least that I know of at this point. There may be more. What were some of the things that surprised you the most about that selling, exiting, acquisition process?
That it's brutal, right? So if you try to sell to an investment banker, another company, the due diligence process is this almost, it can almost kill your efficiencies and productivity, because everything just gets scrutinized, and you figuring out everything needs to get, what is not documented or whatever could be a risk or a pitfall. And at the same time, you're also giving up your secret sauce. You're basically opening up your books and everything for another company. And I tried, for instance, where they went in and basically just, took all the golden nuggets that we had, and the contract, the agreements, all those things. They had insights to that. And then they, instead of buying, they just went ahead and started. It was another big company where I guess they assessed that investing their money versus investing in trying to replicate it was favorable for the latter. So that's one. Another is also that a lot of entrepreneurs have an unrealistic vision about what the multiplier could be, how much the company is worth, how people will value it. They don't factor in their own contribution, and a lot of companies won't necessarily survive without the founder or the CEO as well. So making yourself indispensable in that equation as well is also difficult. So there's a lot of things to consider, I would say, if you want to go for next one.
There are probably dozens, if not more, of productivity planners, journals, workbooks on the market. Everyone from Michael Hyatt to, Joe Schmo seems to have one. Why did you create one, and why is yours different?
Thank you for bringing that up. Mine is different because I've used planners for the last 20 years or so. I almost can't survive without one. I love it. I purchased every single planner there is on the market. But I found there was not one that basically blended all the best practices. So what I mean by that, some is very focused on goals and breaking down habits, etc., where others is more about journaling and practicing gratitude. So I felt like for me to be fulfilled, being balanced as an entrepreneur, I feel I have to start my day with exercising some gratitude, focusing on other elements of just accomplishing materialistic success or achieving XYZ milestone or KPI. Is more like, what would make today great for me, and that if I look back in a couple of years, get an ice cream with my daughter, whatever it may be, small little things like that. At the same time, keep my eyes on the prize as for what is fueling my motivation, what is my 10-year plan, what do I want to accomplish. So putting all those things together in one planner, I felt was a valuable tool, and it came to life a couple of years when I was about to invest in a few mental health and addiction treatment centers, and I was doing a lot of mystery shopping. And I found out that most folks that goes to those places, they don't really exit without a plan after 30-day stay or a 30-day program. They just get thrown back into the real life. And I felt what's missing is like a planner that they can create a plan of action of how they're going to sustain the newfound happiness and direction in life. So that was my motivation.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. Full disclosure, not only do we have the book, but I write in my planner that you provided every single day. And I had the Michael Hyatt journal. I had the Freedom and Mastery journals from John Lee Dumas. I had the RPM from Tony Robbins. Had all of them. Yours is the one I use every day. So
yes, love it. Thank you so much for saying that. I have all of the ones you mentioned as well. I've tried them all great, by the way, as well.
Yes, with all the success you've achieved, what's your biggest challenge now?
My biggest challenge now is I've entered a new industry, a new niche, so to speak, and the learning curve has been very steep. It's very exciting. I think that's what I've been missing the last couple of years in my life. But that's my biggest challenge, is basically cracking the code on this new niche, this new vertical I entered, and also because I do have a big, hairy, audacious goal. I said I'm not just going to open. I want to be the biggest in that category. And then I found there's a lot of different challenges faced, but hey, that's entrepreneurship 101, and I welcome it.
For sure. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I like what I like the most is that I'm able to impact people, that I have an influence in a positive way. I also put that in my book, that I've had a lot of different businesses, success and failures. Some of them in my early years was just with the objective of making money. As I got older, I just found that it's important for me to also make money while impacting people in a positive way, influencing them to make their life better. So that's what I enjoy the most, is that it's helping a lot of people out of suffering, and it's helping a lot of people, along with their families and their kids, etc. So that's the best part of it, that you can combine both making money and contributing.
That is beautiful. For our folks watching or listening who want to learn more, where's the best place for them to go to get the book? Where's the best place for them to go to get the planner? And where's the best place for them to go to learn about you?
Thank you. Obviously, go to social media, my personal website, or go to elevate.io. That's my company website. On the company website, you can find both the book and the planner for sale. And I do have a special gift for the first 50 listeners of this show. Anybody who wants to tap into some of these entrepreneurial lessons, you go to my elevate.io. You go to the book section and you type in Sharkpreneur in a coupon code, and you'll get the book for free, discounted from $30.
Wow. Thank you so much. That is a great offer. We will make sure to drive everyone there to go get their free copy of the book. This has been Seth Greene with Gary Garth. Gary, thanks again for joining us.
Awesome. It was fun. Thanks for having me.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We will talk to you or see you next time. Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level, but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.